It's fixtures release day in the EFL. These are the opening day matches in the Championship for the 2024-2025 season. It all kicks off on Friday, the 9th of August, with Blackburn against Derby and Preston at home to Sheffield United. Other games on the opening weekend are Cardiff against Sunderland, Hull versus Bristol City, Leeds at home to Portsmouth, Middlesbrough take on Swansea, while Millwall are at home to Watford. Oxford take on Norwich, QPR versus West Brom, Stoke are at home to Coventry, Sheffield Wednesday take on Plymouth, and Luton play Burnley.
Oh, what a corker that is! Luton against Burnley! Both relegated from the Premier League, they play against each other. Wow, what about League One? Well, let's have a look how it all starts. Mansfield are back in the third tier for the first time since 2003. They travel to Barnsley. And then let's look elsewhere. Look, Saturday, the rest of the division this season, 5:30 p.m. kickoff here as Birmingham back at this level for the first time in 29 years. They face Reading. Bristol Rovers take on Northampton. Burton versus Lincoln. Crawley versus Blackpool. Exeter versus Rotherham. Then Leyton Orient versus Bolton. Peterborough versus Huddersfield. Stevenage, Shrewsbury. Stockport, Cambridge United. Wigan, Charlton, two former Premier League teams going head-to-head. And Wrexham and Hollywood take on Wycombe Wanderers.
And then the opening weekend in League Two looks like this. Chesterfield host Swindon in the first game of the campaign. Elsewhere, AFC Wimbledon play Colchester. Barrow hosts Crewe. Cheltenham take on Newport, and Doncaster host Accrington. Fleetwood host Grimsby. Gillingham at home to Carlisle. Bromley begin life in the Football League at Harrogate, while the MK Dons host Bradford. Salford at home to Port Vale, while Tranmere play Notts County, and Walsall take on Morecambe.
All of those games right across the EFL then are live on Sky Sports. We're going to tell you exactly how you can watch those shortly. But let's bring you more fixtures now, shall we? And have a look what else has been catching our eye. Bromley, as we mentioned, are going to be playing in the Football League for the first time. Here's how their campaign looks. They start, as we mentioned already, away at Harrogate. Game you can see live on Sky Sports Plus. Then they take on AFC Wimbledon in their first home game. Then it's a trip to Bradford, home to Crewe, Colchester away, then home to Notts County. Let's look at some of the other teams then, shall we? What about Chesterfield? Well, they got promoted with Bromley. Here are their first 6 matches. Their first game is against Swindon at home, live on Sky. Then they travel to Crewe. Then it's a home game against Salford, a trip to Gillingham, home against Grimsby, then away at Port Vale on September the 14th. What about Leeds United? Well, they were beaten in the Championship playoff final against Southampton, of course. They'll be desperate to get promotion this season back into the Premier League. They start with a home game against Portsmouth, then a trip to West Brom, and then Sheffield Wednesday away. Hull and Burnley home back-to-back follows before a trip to Cardiff. Tricky looking opening games, isn't it, for Leeds United? Coming down from the Premier League also, here are Burnley. They begin life back in the Championship. What an opener against fellow relegated team Luton Town. What a great opening fixture that is for the weekend as well. And then they have their first game at Turf Moor against Cardiff City before a trip to Sunderland up at the Stadium of Light. Their local rivals Blackburn are up next, and they start September with a trip to Leeds United before facing Portsmouth at home. Sheffield United also coming down from the Premier League. Well, they start against Preston, away game there at Deepdale. Then QPR at home, followed by a trip to Carrow Road to take on Norwich. Watford are the next visitors to Bramall Lane before a trip to Hull City. And then they finish off in September the 21st here. Their opening 6 games is a home match against Derby County. Well, we mentioned Luton, their big opening game against Burnley. That's an absolute corker. And then on Monday night for their first game back in the Championship. And then a trip to Portsmouth and then Preston away as well. They host QPR to round off August. And then going into September, it's a trip to the Den to take on Millwall, and then a home game back at Kenilworth Road against Sheffield Wednesday. And, well, a lot of eyes on Plymouth because Wayne Rooney is their new manager. He begins life at Plymouth with these fixtures. They start with a trip away to Hillsborough to take on Sheffield Wednesday, live on Sky Sports Football. Then it's Hull City at home. Then a trip to QPR before 2 games at home against Stoke City and Sunderland before a trip to the Hawthorns to take on West Brom. Well, a reminder that all the fixtures for the Championship, League One and League Two are all now available on the Sky Sports app and website as well. You're going to be able to keep up to date with absolutely everything, which is obviously great news. And goals next season. And a reminder, you can get there by scanning this QR code, which takes you directly to the app and all of the fixtures as well. So brilliant. Scan that now with your phone and download the app from the usual places.
Over 1,000 matches will be live on Sky Sports in the new EFL season, and here are some key things for fans to look out for. Well, supporters will be given longer notice periods on matches. Within 7 days of today's EFL fixture release, all broadcast selected matches will be allocated for the period to the end of September. Before a ball is kicked of the 2024-25 season, all TV selections will be allocated for the period up to the FA Cup third round proper in early January. This is a landmark commitment, providing fans and clubs almost 6 months' notice, an increase from the 5 weeks' notice given across the majority of the 23-24 season. Hundreds of games will be live on Sky Sports for the new season. You can scan this QR code on your screen to find out how you can watch your team on Sky Sports and the brand new Sky Sports Plus or the new campaign.
So then, there you go. Fixtures are out. All the games. Over 1,000 games live. Are you sure?
Lots of games.
Are you sure?
I think I'm sure.
What?
I'm sure.
That's mint.
She is today.
Mrs. Graves is going to be delighted about all those games on live on Sky.
1,000.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, which opening day fixture in the Championship catches your eye? I mean, one comes to mind, doesn't it?
Which one's that?
Burnley-Luton.
Fantastic,
Huge.
isn't it?
Yeah.
What an early marker this could be, and early pressure for either of those two sides. Relegated from the Premier League, up against each other, live on Sky Football. We know that Rob Edwards has done an incredible job there. Burnley still searching for a manager, linked with various candidates. Who will be in the hot seat at Turf Moor? I think the other games that stand out for me, of course, will have to be the sides promoted from League One. Relegated in 2012, Portsmouth. It's taken them a long time to get back to the second tier. Only lost 5 games in League One last season under John Messina. What a job he's done. Already made a good signing as well, Josh Murphy. Be interesting to see how they get on.
That was late last night, wasn't it? Murphy was announced, I think.
Yeah. I love going to Fratton Park. I love it. It absolutely is one of my favourite places to watch football. Great to see them back in the Championship. Obviously, Derby, only a couple of seasons in League One. They missed out in that first season, second behind Portsmouth. And the fact that Paul Warne has got them up there will be fascinating to see how they get on. I think the other team, of course, Oxford. 25 years since they were last in the Championship. And they've got a really tough game against Norwich. Leeds again, we'll look at that and think, well, this is an opportunity to put down an early marker. But how many of those players that were at Leeds and Ellen Road last season will still be there for the new campaign when we know that they have got to sell? They've got to raise some money because they're under a little bit of pressure financially. So I think there's some great fixtures there. And I keep saying it on Sky Sports, I say it all the time, and people are probably bored of me saying it, but I love the EFL. I love the Championship, and it's my favourite games to go to when I'm out and about on Soccer Saturday duty. And I think we're in for a real treat. I think the Championship will be tight this year. I don't think there are clear favourites. I don't think the 3 sides that have come down will dominate in the way that perhaps Leicester did last season, Southampton, Leeds. You know, the teams that all came down were really strong.
Did we see anyone doing Ipswich? Like, we talking about Portsmouth there. Anyone do something, someone who's maybe got promoted in? You're talking about the 3 teams there, Oxford, Derby and Ipswich. Anyone, that's Oxford, Derby and Portsmouth. Anyone out of that could maybe challenge for promotion?
I think Oxford will find it tough. But
they've lost Murphy to Portsmouth.
Yeah, they've lost one of their key players already. And obviously Des Buckingham's still very new at the football club, so still adjusting to life in English football. He did some really good things, but it took a little bit of time to find that right formula for them to get promoted, but an incredible job nonetheless. I don't think Derby will be quite there or thereabouts to challenge Portsmouth. Now, I would have never have said in a million years that Portsmouth would go up as League One champions, but yet they did. They lost 5 games all season.
Great manager.
John Messino's done a terrific job. Richard Hughes, the sporting director, has had a lot of success in a very short space of time at the club. I really like the balance of the team. They've got a nice mix of experience. They've always signed good young players as well on loan from Premier League sides. They've got their recruitment spot on. So I think they could be a team to watch, but whether or not they can do in Ipswich. I think Ipswich was so exceptional, and they had someone in Kieran McKenna who was breathtakingly different and unique, very, very special. You haven't seen a manager like him in the EFL since Eddie Howe. So I think that was the X factor that they had, and a really good group of players, and they recruited really well. I can't see one of those 3 teams challenging the top 6. I think Coventry could be the team to watch this year. I really like Mark Robbins, the team that he's built. They've reinvested the Victor Gyökeres money really sensibly. I think they'll go again this summer with trying to sign some new players and spend a little bit of cash. And again, I think there'll be 1 or 2 surprises. But that's why the Championship's so brilliant. You know, look at the way QPR finished the season. Really, really strong under Marty Cifuentes.
Playing some good stuff there, weren't
they? They were playing some great football, looked good. Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough, they'll be there or thereabouts again. So this is the great thing about this.
Anyone can be anyone.
Sunderland as well. There's Sunderland, massive supporter base up there, and they've got a new manager who is coming, and you're from France, you never know.
I'm intrigued because they've just been relegated. Lorient got relegated from the top tier in France, and suddenly he's then come over to the Championship. So how is that experiment going to work out? It's taken a long time for them to find the right man, but Sunderland, force of nature, the fans are incredible, and they'll will their team on. Can't wait.
Let's get to more fixtures now, and here's what Boxing Day looks like in the Championship. Blackburn host Sunderland, Luton go to Bristol City, Coventry play Plymouth, while newly promoted Derby take on West Brom. Middlesbrough are home to Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich host Millwall, Oxford at home to Cardiff, Preston host Hull, Sheffield United and Burnley were both in the Premier League last season. They go head-to-head on Boxing Day. Stoke play Leeds, Swansea take on QPR and Watford host Portsmouth.
It's always nice to get a home game on Boxing Day, isn't it? What about League One? Birmingham, Burton, Bolton Wanderers got a home game against Barnsley. Charlton take on Cambridge. Exeter at home to Bristol Rovers. Huddersfield take on Stockport. Leyton Orient versus Crawley. Peterborough, Mansfield. Reading are home. They take on Northampton. Rotherham are home to Wigan. Shrewsbury take on Lincoln. Stevenage versus Wickham. And Wrexham have a home game against Blackpool.
In League 2, AFC Wimbledon are at home to Swindon. Bradford play Port Vale. Football League New Boys play Newport, while Carlisle host Morecambe. Cheltenham take on Crewe. Colchester play Gillingham. Fleetwood are against Chesterfield, while Grimsby are at home to Harrogate. MK Dons play Notts County. Salford host Barrow. Tranmere play Accrington, and Walsall are at home to Doncaster.
Right, well, listen, scan this QR code, which will take you straight to the EFL fixtures on our website. We've got all the Championship, League 1 and League 2 fixtures there. And a reminder that all of the opening round of EFL fixtures are live on Sky Sports. Yeah, all of them. Every game. Let me repeat, they're all on Sky. Scan that code now and you can find all of your club's fixtures and write them in your diaries if you're old school like me, or download them and they pop up on your phone. It's all very clever.
I'm delighted to say we're joined in the studio now by EFL Chief Executive Trevor Birch. Trevor, thanks so much for coming into the studio. Good to see you. Now, with all these live matches, it does feel like a new era for the EFL. Yeah. How excited are you for the new season?
It's a great day, isn't it? I mean, everybody's excited. The clubs, we're excited, the fans. I mean, it's probably the best day in the year because hope springs eternal on this day, doesn't it? You know, every club thinks they're going to be promoted.
Everyone's
and why
equal
not?
top, aren't
Everyone's
they?
equal, yeah. You're joint top for the day.
Look, it was a really challenging time, of course, for clubs in the EFL. We've had COVID to contend with. Does it feel, though, like with the crowds growing again, that we're starting to get over those difficult times and move in a more positive direction?
Yeah, I'd like to think so, Pete. I mean, if you look at the numbers now, they're incredible. I think we're at an all-time high in terms of the championship, for example, since 1892.
Wow.
As a league body, we're at an all-time high. As a body as well, it's the highest within Europe. As a league body in attendance, so just some incredible stats there. And I think after the COVID, I think people realised what they were missing, and it seems to have really bounced back very strongly.
Right.
The last time I saw you, Trevor, we were at Wembley celebrating the playoffs,
Yeah.
which I absolutely love. It's the best climax to the season. One of the things I want to pick you up on is the importance of the EFL to this England side. I love the EFL. I say it every week on Sky Sports News, and it really is my favourite to watch. When you look at this current England team, it really underlines the importance of the EFL, the Football League, the pyramid system, because those players like Jude Bellingham that start in the EFL now on the biggest international stage shows you how important it is.
Well, it is. Talking about Jude Bellingham, I remember at Swansea playing against Birmingham when he was 16, and you could tell even then, what a player he's going to be. But yeah, it's a breeding ground, it's a training ground for all the players of the squad of 29. I think 26 have played at some stage within the EFL in terms of minutes. I think appearances. I think there's over 3,000 appearances in the league. So it's a great grounding for them. And as you say, it's a fantastic competition at all levels, all three divisions really. The strength and quality in the three divisions is amazing.
Chesterfield and Bromley into the Football League after how Wrexham and Stockport have done. Just how exciting is it to have them joining League Two?
Well, it's great to see Bromley as a new entrant. I would think hoping to follow Salford and Harrogate, who won their first opening games. Great to see Chesterfield back. Again, it's going to be a strong league.
When you look at the Championship, Trevor, it's an exciting league, because you are one step away from the Premier League, and of course you've got three sides coming down from the Premier League as well. I know it's something that Rick Parry said a lot, the EFL chairman, about making sure it's fair for everyone. How do you go about making the Championship fair when you've got three teams that come down with £60 million worth of parachute payments? You've got teams coming up from League One that don't have that, and you want to see that parity, you want to see that competitiveness. How do you go about making it fair?
It's probably a question for the Premier League, isn't it, really, in terms of the distribution of funding, which is, of course, what we're trying to achieve, is to reduce that cliff edge. Last season, Ipswich performed amazingly to get amongst the bigger relegated clubs that came down, which was just a great achievement. But ordinarily, they've got such an advantage, and the numbers are so skewed in terms of favouring their immediate return. So, at some stage, one would hope there is a fairer distribution that would enable a more competitive, at the top within the Championship.
Great, Wheeler. We really appreciate your time. Good
All
luck
the
with
best
that
for the new
side of it.
season.
Yeah,
We
we're
look
looking
forward to it.
that Luton-Burnley game on the opening weekend.
Yeah,
It's
huge.
just an absolute belter,
Huge.
and we really look forward to seeing all the games live, and hope you
How
can
many?
enjoy over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Well,
Hope you can enjoy your
Everyone a
summer as
winner.
well before it all kicks off.
Yeah.
It's not long to go, is
People
it?
watch every single one, won't you?
I'll watch
You'll
at least
try to.
999.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much for
great.
coming in.
Thanks,
Thank
Alex.
you.
Thanks.
Right, let's head to Portsmouth, who will be playing Championship football this season after winning promotion from League One. We can now cross live to our reporter Lewis Mason, who's at Fratton Park for us. Morning. So an exciting season for Portsmouth as they return to Championship after over a decade away.
Yes, good morning. 12 years out of the second tier for Portsmouth. Beautiful day. You've joined us on the south coast. Let's run through the fixtures that they've been given to start their season. And it's not going to be an easy return to the Championship. They start away at Leeds. Then it is home to Luton, away to Middlesbrough, home to Sunderland and West Brom, and away to Burnley. That is how the first 6 are looking. So 2 of those sides who came down from the Premier League last season faced Portsmouth in those opening 6 fixtures. Boxing Day away to Watford, then they finish the season at home here at Fratton Park against Hull. Let's get some reaction to the fixture release. We're joined by CEO Andrew Cullen and Sporting Director Rich Hughes. Andrew, let's start with you. Thank you for joining us firstly. How do you react to that? Leeds away, that's a nice, easy one to ease you back into Championship life.
Well, what a challenge, but that's exactly the reason that, today's about the fixtures coming out. It's a sense of what you have achieved over the past season by winning promotion, and these are the fixtures you want to play. This is what we've been working towards, for the last 12 years at Portsmouth Football Club. So to kick off against Leeds, what a fantastic spectacle that's going to be for the EFL, and we're looking forward to that one. The rest of the fixtures, it's challenging, but every game in the Championship's a challenge. That's what we're here for, and we're incredibly excited by the prospect of being able now to get this club back into a position where it's playing in the top level of the EFL and looking to be competitive, to consolidate and to look and see how far we can go and develop onwards from there. So bring it on.
You got the away fixture to start, and that is what you wanted. You asked for an away fixture because there is work going on at Fratton Park. We can see in the background at the moment. So tell us what is going on here this summer.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of work going on in the stadium. The biggest thing is we've been on a 3-year project now where the stadium was effectively falling down. We were probably heading towards a capacity within a 21,000 stadium to going down to 10,000. When I arrived, it was already at 14. And it's about the investment that's gone into it, nearly approaching 15-16 million pounds investment from the owners in terms of making the ground fit for purpose, bringing it up to speed. We'll be at full capacity next season, 21,000. One of the things that we've tried to do is be sympathetic. It's a famous old stadium, goes back a long, long way. Archibald Leach, one of the famous architects of English football, designed the stadium, and we try to be sympathetic in terms of the architecture and design, and part of that is a new TV gantry, which has had a 50-ton crane on the pitch over the last few weeks. The groundsman's been having kittens, but he's finally got his pitch back, and that means we started the process of renovation last week a little bit later than we would like to. So the application we made to the EFL was a request to have that first game played away. But we'll be ready. The TV gantry itself is Premier League ready. It's where we want to be. It's what we're aiming for. And, we've got a stadium here which is going to be absolutely rocking, as it always is, next season.
Rich, I would say, have you had a nice summer? But I'm sure it's been pretty busy because one of the first things is, of course, what does the squad look like going into the new season? You've been working with John Mousinho closely. Business over the line late last night. Josh Murphy arriving at the club. How happy are you to get that job done?
Delighted. The business we've done so far in terms of the free agents we've brought in were a couple of players that we'd highlighted that we felt could really add to the group. So Jordan Williams coming in and then Josh late last night. We're really, really pleased. Obviously, John's got a good relationship with Josh from his time at Oxford together, and that helped us. But I think probably testament to the work's going on behind the scenes in terms of the ownership, the rest of the structure and the ambition that we're trying to put in place, that we were able to take probably one of the better players in League One last year, and obviously had that wonderful game in the playoff final back in May. So really delighted to bring him in. I think he's a player that the fans will very much enjoy getting to know and getting to enjoy and get to watch as the season kicks off and we get going.
Can you tell us anything with regard to Marlon Pack, captain here last season, lifted that trophy, not got a contract at the moment? Is it close?
Yeah, we're really close with Marlon. It was the nice bit with Marlon, and he's a Portsmouth boy, but we also know how important he is to the group as a player and as a leader, and not just the work that goes on the pitch. He helps us as that real link between John, the coaching staff, and the players. So making sure it was right for everyone was really important, and we're very close that we'll get that agreement sorted in the not too distant future, and delighted to have Marlon with us leading this group out into the Championship.
Well, gents, thank you so much for your time today. There it is then. So Portsmouth will start the new season, their return to the Championship, away at Elland Road against Leeds. What will John Mousinho think of that? We'll ask him very soon on Sky Sports News.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoyed that. And it is all eyes on the prize. Yes, who will be lifting those trophies in spring 2025? We're going to be speaking to a promotion-winning manager in a moment.
Right, here's a reminder of how the opening day looks in the Championship for the 2024-25 season. It all kicks off on Friday, August the 9th, with Blackburn against Derby and Preston at home to Sheffield United.
Yes, it does. Then we've got Cardiff against Sunderland, Hull City, Bristol City. Leeds United are at Elland Road. They start against newly promoted Portsmouth. What a great game that looks like. And the one below, it's not bad either. Middlesbrough versus Swansea.
Yes.
Shall I keep going?
Well,
right, listen, my favourite game of all of them is Luton versus Burnley. That's an absolute cracker, isn't it? Two teams relegated from the Premier League face each other on the opening day. Elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth, Stoke, Coventry, QPR, West Brom, Oxford United, Norwich, Millwall, Watford.
How was I supposed to keep up with you there?
These are the games.
Okay, I think I'll do League One then.
Fine.
Mansfield travel to Barnsley then on Saturday. The rest of the division get their season started at 5:30. Birmingham face Reading, Bristol Rovers take on Northampton, Burton host Lincoln, Crawley promoted from League Two start at home to Blackpool.
Yeah, I just can't keep up with when you're stopping. Exeter, Rotherham, bottom of your list. Then we've got Leyton Orient, Bolton, Peterborough, Huddersfield, Stevenage, Shrewsbury, Stockport, Cambridge, Wigan, Charlton, and Hollywood, Wrexham take on Wycombe with the battle of the W's. But who will get the W on the opening day?
Good one. Right. The opening weekend in League Two looks like this. Chesterfield host Swindon in the first game of the campaign. Elsewhere, AFC Wimbledon play Colchester, Barrow host Crewe. Cheltenham take on Newport and Doncaster host Accrington.
Fleetwood, Grimsby's next one. Gillingham, Carlisle. I'm enjoying Mark McAdam chuckling away over my shoulder. Harrogate, Bromley. MK Dons, Bradford. Salford and G-Nev and all the guys home against Port Vale. Tranmere, Notts County. And Walsall are home to Morecambe.
Should we throw to Mark?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Definitely don't. I've got a front row seat for the best comedy duo in town. Now, Wrexham made it back-to-back promotions last season, meaning they'll be playing League One football for the new campaign. And I'm delighted to say we can now cross live to their manager, the most important man in Wrexham, Phil Parkinson. Great to see you there. You've got the tactics board behind you already. He's ready to rock and roll for a brand new campaign. An exciting day for the club. Back in League One for the first time since 2005. What's your immediate reaction to the fixtures, Phil?
Yeah, pleased. I think it's always great to have a home game for the first day of the season. So we've got that. Some really exciting away games come up quite quickly after that. Bolton, Peterborough and Birmingham. So listen, that's what we've got in the Division 4 to meet these teams and test ourselves against that kind of opposition. So like you rightly say, it's the first time for 19 years the club's been back at this level, and it's fantastic, and it really hits home to you when the fixtures come out.
Absolutely, it is an exciting day for the fans, of course. What's it like for you in terms of the preparations? How have the pre-season preparations been going so far?
Yeah, good. The lads are back in today for testing today, tomorrow, Friday, and then we start on the grass on Monday. So, yeah, the lads have been working hard in the off-season, like all players do, to keep themselves in good shape, which is really important. And, there's great excitement and anticipation in and around the club for the new season.
Bleep tests, pre-season testing, it's never an ideal day for the players, but it's not long now until you'll be heading stateside for your pre-season. How excited are you to see the fans in America after your trip last summer and all of the kind of hype around the club stateside?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience last year to be in the States, and the response and the reaction we got over there was just incredible, and we're very excited about going back there this year. We've got a few weeks preparation before we go there. We've got some great games when we get across there. So yeah, no, it's amazing for us to be on a trip like that again, and we're going to embrace every single minute of it like we did last year.
Obviously, the profile of the club has grown substantially over the last couple of years. How much has that helped you to convince players to join you at Wrexham and be a part of this exciting project?
Yeah, I think there's obviously a lot of players who've watched the club from afar and are keen to come on board and see it as a club on an upward trajectory. And that's the aim, to keep building the squad to make us as competitive as possible going into this new division. But yeah, it's a different club in terms of the project with the documentary and everything which goes around it. And it's a great place to be. There's been a huge uplift in the area in Wrexham with the success of the team and the profile of the club. Not just over here, but like you say, in America and other parts of the world.
Now, Phil, I want a little bit of an exclusive from you now. There's been a big story that's been circulating over the summer, and I need an update on whether Rob McElhenney has managed to convince Gareth Bale to come out of retirement and play for Wrexham. Come on, don't disappoint us.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got no exclusive for you on that one. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Gareth's been retired for a year now, and I think it's probably a bit tongue-in-cheek when it got mentioned again. But yeah, obviously an absolute legend of Welsh football, and but yeah, there's been no developments since those quotes.
Brilliant, Phil. Thank you so much for your time on this special day. The EFL fixture's out today, and you've got to go back to the bleep tests and make sure the players haven't eaten too much over the course of the summer. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, here we go. Here's a reminder. Hundreds of games will be live on Sky Sports for the new season. You can scan this QR code to find out how you can watch your team on Sky Sports for the brand new campaign. Sky Sports Plus is the place to go, and we'll run you through how the fixtures look in the EFL final for the next day.
Right, let's head back to the North East, shall we now? Speak live to a Championship manager, former England player as well, of course, who's with our man, Keith Downey. Keith, over to you.
Yeah, morning, Pete. Welcome to the Middlesbrough training ground, where in the last half an hour the fixtures for the new Championship season, of course, have been released, and as ever it looks like another gruelling season ahead and another gruelling year for Middlesbrough, for Michael Carrick, the manager, who joins me this morning. Michael, I know you've had a chance to have a quick glance at the fixture. Swansea at home on the first day. How do you feel about what's to come?
Yeah, I think it always gives you that extra little buzz, then the fixtures come out, it's that step closer. We have the end of the season where you're kind of digesting what's happened and then have this time off, and then now it's about what's next, really. So the boys have been back training for a few days, and fixtures come out, so it is what it is in front of us. It's we know what's in front of us, we know the start we've got, so we can prepare and start focusing on that.
A couple of days back, like you say, is that quite early? Is that earlier than normal?
It was 14 weeks from the last game to the first league game, which is quite some time. So it's we've kind of split it down the middle, really, and done 7 weeks. I say 7 weeks off. The boys have still been on their own programmes and keeping themselves in really good shape. Actually, they've come back really well, and a bit of a week, a bit more of a relaxing week, but around the training ground this week, and then 6 weeks really of good training building up to the start of the season, and hopefully get that balance right. The boys have come back really well.
Swansea at home in the first match, I guess good to be at home and against a team who I think in the 3 matches you've taken charge of against, you've won each time.
Yeah, the first game's always a little bit unknown, if we're totally honest. We can look at each other pre-season and kind of get a gauge of what we're doing, but until you're maybe 2, 3, 4 games into the season to get a gauge what a team looks like, what they're trying to do, and be a little bit more certain of that. The first couple of games is a little bit more challenging in terms of preparation, and so yeah, it's about getting the training right, getting the pre-season right, getting through the games, getting players to the start of the season when we've got a really strong squad and in good shape. So the Swansea game will be a tough game. They play good football. We've had tough games against them. We know that, but at least it gives us something to focus our minds on.
And of course, you want to get off to a winning start. I was reading that you've not won an opening day match for 10 years. That's something you want to change, of course.
Yeah, it does make me laugh, the kind of historical records. But now, listen, of course, we didn't have a great start last season, and we know that. The season before that, when I came in the October, the start wasn't too good either. So we need to improve that for sure, and give ourselves a good chance, because the rest of the season, as it flowed, we had pretty much good momentum and finished strongly. So we want to kind of build on what we've done at the end of last season.
When you look at the Championship last season, and you saw the likes of Leicester, Leeds, Southampton in there, of course 2 of those 3 have gone up. Leeds still in there. sort of take Leeds aside, but the league as a whole, with big clubs like Portsmouth and Derby in there as well, it looks a lot more even, would you say, compared to last season?
I think last season, in terms of the quality and the strength of the squads and the clubs that came down, was for Ipswich to do what they've done, and Kieran, what the job he'd done there was incredible, really, and probably shouldn't have, and well, not probably, but definitely shouldn't have. So, this season, listen, there's good teams that have came down. Look, the teams that have come down know the league very well, been in this league recently, so they know what it takes to go up. So we're not underestimating that by any stretch, but we'll look forward to it. As you said, good teams have came up, big clubs have came up into the league, and it's even and challenging at the best of times. So we'll give it our best.
I'll take the blame for the phone ringing there.
I hope that was you and not me.
I hope that's not a fine before the season starts. When you look at the club as a whole, and you look at what you need to do, you've had a couple of changes this season, backroom staff, and one of them is you've brought in your brother in the last couple of days, Graham. What is his role going to be underneath you?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, he is my brother, of course, but that's not the sole reason why we brought him in. I think Aaron obviously left to go to Bayern, and we've had a way of working where we used to working, and Graham's been in and around us. He obviously knows me very well, knows how I think. I know how he thinks about football, and his background and his kind of education in coaching. Really, his next step is to take this after being with the under-18s at Newcastle for a couple of years. So it fits really well. He knows the boys, he knows the setup, he knows. So it should be a bit of a seamless kind of transition, which at the moment we've been in this week, and it's. Obviously we've lost Darren, and he's a good coach, and we wish him well in the future, but to have Graham, we're delighted, and we're looking forward to what's ahead as a backroom staff as well.
And it looks as though you're trying to do your business early in terms of transfers. Luke Ayling signing a permanent deal, and you've brought in a striker early doors as well.
Yeah, it's something we're really conscious of this season, and we were fortunate enough to have a bit of stability at the end of the season to really plan ahead. Obviously Luke's in and Delano's in, but even the ones, if we can get others across the line, it doesn't mean that it's an afterthought. It's just sometimes the process takes a little bit longer, but certainly we've been working for quite some time. We're delighted to have Luke for longer and permanent. He was terrific for us last season in so many ways, so it was a no-brainer for us to bring him in. And Delano, he's got attributes that that can kind of complement the other strikers, really, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. So we're really excited by the potential that he's got, and he's at a really good age where I think his peak years are really coming now. So hopefully it's not the end of it. Hopefully there's more. We want to keep strengthening. We need a good squad and a top squad to challenge this season.
And just finally, when you look at what's to come, I think with the new TV deal, I think you're likely to be shown on Sky Sports at least 24 times next season. I know that means a lot in terms of fixture changes and all that kind of thing, but there'll be a lot of eyes on your team, a lot of eyes on the Championship as a whole next season. That's something that you'll want to ensure that the club are shown in a good light.
Yeah, listen, it's a fantastic league. It really is a fantastic league. It's challenging, it's entertaining. The excitement within games and week to week and over the course of the season is pretty relentless, but it's a really good league to watch. I've really enjoyed being involved in it, and there's a lot of good football played, and I think the league took a big step up last season, and I'm sure it'll be similar this season. So it's as I said, it's challenging, and for us, the more exposure for the club, for the players, for the league, the better, and hopefully we can keep improving what's a really good, product, because it's a fantastic league and commercially, and keep building on what we've got.
Michael, thank you very much for giving us your time this morning. I have to say, round about this Rockcliffe training ground this morning, very calm, very peaceful ahead of the new season. In a few weeks that's about to change with all these games set to come Middlesbrough and all the other clubs' way.
Keith, it's a lovely golf course as well, isn't it? So get yourself out there.
Sure
son.
is, yeah.
Good stuff, Keith. Thank you so much.
You know me too well.
I do. I know you too well.
Your
You're
younger
not wrong.
brother, isn't he, Keith?
Right. What are we going to do now, Alex?
Let's run you through the final games of the Championship season. Right, Bristol City host Preston. Burnley are at home to Millwall. Coventry host Middlesbrough. Derby against Stoke. Cardiff away to Norwich, Plymouth at home to Leeds.
The rest of them are there. Look at them, read your team, and that's it. Last one's West Brom Luton. There you go. Yeah. Next up.
OK, right, into League One. The final day looks like this.
Okay.
Blackpool against Bristol Rovers, Bolton against Stevenage, Cambridge against Birmingham, Burton away to Charlton, Huddersfield host Leyton Orient, and Wrexham are away to Lincoln. Ryan Reynolds goes to Lincoln.
Yeah, he certainly does. That's the rest of the fixtures. Come on, we're running out of time, so we can read them, can't you? Here's the last ones.
OK, well, let's take you to League Two final day then. Accrington at home to Chesterfield, Fleetwood away to Bradford, Bromley host Cheltenham, Salford away to Carlisle, Colchester at home to Barrow, and Crewe take on Walsall at home.
There you go. And those teams are at home: Grimsby, Morecambe, Newport, Notts County, Port Vale and Swindon. OK. Don't forget you can get them all online. That's the important bit. So if you want to find out all of your team's fixtures, just scan that QR code. You can get the lot. And, you know, I'm sure you probably know already, don't you? The top fans will have already assessed all those big games, openers, finishers, Boxing Day games, and so on and so on and so on. And scan that and get the app if you haven't got it already, which I'm sure you have. Right. Mark McAdam's with us once more.
Yes.
I rushed through that just because I wanted to chat to you one more time.
We want more time with Mark.
I was enjoying it. I want to watch you two in action. I've had loads of fun today.
OK,
Yeah, it's been
so
great.
one final question for you, Mark.
Yep.
Who is your surprise package for the Championship next season?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I think the team to watch, I actually think the three sides that come down won't be as strong as the three sides that came down from the Premier League the season before, where they were dominant. You know, you had big hitters with big budgets. I think the Championship is going to be a lot tighter and it's going to be very close for the top half of the table. The team I think to keep an eye on, I mentioned it earlier on, could be Coventry City.
Yeah.
I think the way they've invested the Victor Gyökeres money, Mark Robins, super experienced, really good operator. They play exciting football. I think they could be the team to watch. So, yeah, they would be my surprise package this season.
I'm going to back Portsmouth for the playoffs.
Oh, I like that.
Clip that up.
Yeah.
We'll play it later in the season.